It is, in fact,
The break.
the break. The break of day. Look at that. It's Ghosty. This Ghosty shirt's pretty cool. I like that.
It is, man. It's just very plain.
It's nice. I like the white.
there.
I like the white jacket too.
That's what it is. Actually, it's Ghosty is becoming a pretty notable multi-gaming team.
Yeah, they picked
Really,
up a Dota 2 team.
They picked up a really good Dota 2 team.
Yep.
They picked up a really good Han team. Obviously, the StarCraft team.
I never heard of that game before.
Really, here's a New Earth. It's a really good game.
No, man. How many people play it? Like 2?
How dare you?
Oh, wait, they need.
Everybody in S2 hates you right now. There's 100,000 people concurring on there multiple times.
Yeah. No, Hansa. Yeah, sure, man. I got you.
It's better graphics. It's
probably
better gameplay.
This is a different
more
debate,
heroes.
man. We'll settle this later. I feel like I say that like every cast, man. We'll settle this later.
Yeah. Every time it just comes up with me winning.
Andre's
Just
giving
like
me the furrowed eyebrows right now. Guys, let's introduce our players here on Daybreak.
I'm the 1% that represents the 99%. That doesn't make sense at all.
I'm trying to think. Like, is he trying to make a math pun here? Because he does that all the time. Oh, wow. That's so mean, Morgan. Our producer said he likes it better when Andre's not cocky. Actually, I do too. That's not
mean
what
I
all.
heard.
That's a very accurate statement.
Anyway,
in the bottom left.
Who do we have? Do it in your like super dramatic, awesome voice.
In the bottom left, we have none other than FXO Strelok, the Blue Terran from Europe. In the top right, his opponent, it's none other than ViBe from Team Goes the North American team. He is donned in the green, and he is ready to strike. Observe as how the tiger approaches its prey.
You mean the fire truck?
The fire truck? Oh, is that his nickname? Is ViBe's nickname the fire truck?
ViBe's nickname is the fire truck. It's actually really interesting. He's a big philanthropist.
Really? That's cool.
And he's known to be pretty proficient in Irish tap dancing.
Oh, okay, now you're just trolling me, man. I thought you were. That's a really nice thing to say. Like, why would you ever make?
Excuse me.
Make a joke about He's really good at Irish tap dance. If
you go ask him.
Now I want ViBe to win because I want to really ask him if he's good at Irish tap dance.
He is.
You can't just say that without him actually.
Just like TT1, he's actually pretty proficient too.
So silly, man.
Dude.
You're so silly. I can't say silly. I need a word, Morgan. You are, Andre. You're being very harebrained right now. H-A-R-E, like a rabbit. You're very harebrained right now.
Well, you're bonkers. You're maniacal bonkers.
You are nitwitted and muddle-headed. So how
you're a psychotic, wacky.
You're just
jabroni.
Okay, enough of that. But let's get back into this game, Andre. We can put our petty differences aside to watch this brilliant game between these two players. ViBe, he chose Daybreak. Why would he choose this map? You've worked with him a lot. You coach him. Can you explain a little bit about the mentality of ViBe?
Well,
How does he respond to losses?
We should comfortably say that Daybreak in general is one of the larger maps. The rush distances are a lot farther. You can see your opponent coming normally as well. And that's probably one of the most important things because that Xel'Naga Tower gives you a lot of sight. You can see everything. There's just one little attack path, and you just stick a Zergling there, and you know if your opponent is on the warpath over to the third or not. That being said, to prepare for something like that, you can prepare for a push so well in advance. Apparently, there's like a water pipe that's like.
Oh, is it a water pipe?
I don't know what it is, but
I thought it was like Kylie laughing
it's making so much noise, and I don't even know if it's getting on cast. But
it's
anyway,
really distracting. It's like wee wee wee. It's like the girl from Kung Pao Enter the Fist, where the girl is like wee 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 wee.
Yep, you and one other person knows about that movie. Anyway, it's a really long movie, and long movie. Oh my gosh, a long rush distance, and that gives ViBe the ability to react accordingly. And that's the principles of Zerg. They want to do that. Ooh. I always said if Zerg had a map hack, they would win 100% of the time because they would be able to drone accordingly and make units accordingly, and it would just give them the best, I think.
ViBe is making 7 roaches. Now, oh, actually 8 roaches. Apologize for that. Now, we were talking earlier about how ViBe is willing to kind of experiment with roach pressure. Now, is he going to try to punish Strelok and make non-stop roaches? He is.
Yeah, this is an all-in.
Baneling that's just started.
There's a roach Zergling Baneling all-in. Yeah, for sure.
Of course. I mean, yeah. Why else get all these buildings?
Let's check. 30 harvesters. It's okay. If it was one inject larger, around 38 harvesters, then I would say this has the capacity to go into a macro game after this. Of course, it's delayed by about 30, 45 seconds, but still. We're looking at an all-in coming from ViBe, and hopefully, crossing fingers, it works.
No bias.
No bias.
Strelok is 1/2 production cycle away from finishing his Banshee, and that will assist, but will it hold off against the threat? Because, I mean, he's going to have to...
There might be just too much stuff, Frodan.
He's going to lose a lot of units here. And 10 Banelings are on the way, as well as 18 Zerglings, trying to see if they can rally in. Strelok taking this rush very seriously. He has another bunker in a defensive position behind the other bunker. Doesn't want to get busted all at the same time. The Banshee now is on the field, targeting down some Banelings. An excellent choice, but the time has come to see whether or not ViBe can bust Strelok here, Andre. As we do see the SCVs repairing the bunker, but it's taken out very quickly. The SCV is getting very close, and a lot of them do end up dying to the explosions. And the Roaches do end up busting the bunker, and Strelok doesn't have much ground army to fight this.
Oh man, Strelok might be in a lot of trouble here. Can the Roaches do enough damage? They actually need to go up into the main, not hang around at the natural. There finally goes. Why are you targeting the command center? Come on. There you go. Going up into the main. He needs some more of a couple more Banelings, but I don't think he can just because of those Banshees. And look at this. He's actually droning behind this. I don't mind this at all.
Wow. And
the Roaches are still doing significant damage against a lot of those SCVs.
Yeah, killing 23 SCVs at this point.
Sweet, merciful
and
crap.
You see actually the last form of defense is on the ground. It's just a couple Marauders. Strelok does clean this up, but suffering a lot of economic loss, 18 to 39. And actually, that's what I was talking about in a previous thing. How you can just really switch aggression and you can drone up behind it.
Yeah.
And I like that ViBe recognized it rather than just try to make more units and end it there.
Okay, here's something that's so cool. We see the Banshees. They're not actually able to go out because Strelok needs to stabilize. If he doesn't stabilize, he's in a lot of trouble. There could be more Zerglings, more Roaches on the way. That's why his Banshees are still back here. He's waiting in case there is some sort of continued aggression. That's why Strelok wasn't able to capitalize on that really critical time, and the Spore Crawlers were able to be set up. So really nice job, theoretically, by Strelok, but it's going to go to bite him in the end.
ViBe's already prepared back at home as well. He has 2 Spore Crawlers in a linear defense, trying to zone off the Banshees from being able to poke in. And ViBe's even got Queens ready in position, so very, very good response from our Zerg player. How is Strelok choosing to follow up? He's getting his siege mode, trying to resume as if everything's normal, but everything is not normal, man. It's 27. You talk to the SCVs. I mean, they've seen things that they don't want to
see at all. They feel abused right now.
The atrocities
on
Daybreak. People don't talk about the incident on Daybreak, man, around this time. Parts of town.
Anyway, Strelok.
It's like the worst.
Yeah,
worst premise
that's
of a movie
fine.
ever, man.
Okay, so Strelok, he's come back from bigger situations, though. I remember him against, oh God, do I even want to say it? Yes, okay, I'll say it. I remember him against Idra back in the StarCraft 1 days, and let me tell you, I've seen some comebacks that I was just like, how the heck did you do this, Strelok? I just didn't understand it. He's definitely one of those people that stays in there and is able to really come back from these disadvantages. He'll be able to be a little bit more efficient than his opponent, get nicer trades. So we'll see, can Strelok actually make the actions necessary to come back into this? Look at these supplies, actually. 88 to 83 in favor of Strelok.
Yeah, ViBe hasn't really been able to establish a third base economy, and he has the worker advantage, but he hasn't had the larva advantage compared to the way he normally would. So ViBe is setting up 2 more hatcheries at the same time. Pretty standard of the Zerg to get that 3 base economy. He also has a lot to defend, so Strelok has to be really cautious. He's wandering on creep, and ViBe is completely prepared. He's got 10 Banelings ready for any kind of push.
I don't even think he needs the Banelings at this point. Those Zerglings are more than enough, and they have, centrifugal hooks, too.
Wow. Mutas are on the way as well, so the medevac, if he tries to split it off, the Banshees are going to die too if he's not careful.
And Ish don't think so, Strelok. He's going to push back. I take that back. Ton of siege tanks, Marines, Marauders over here. This bottom middle. And unfortunately, ViBe has no clue this is coming. He's supply capped as well.
This is pretty much the push that Strelok needs to do. He's letting Zerg get ahead unless if he just sits back and macro. So he's gonna scan. He sees a lot of Banelings rolling in. Needs to get in C's position immediately. The Mutas are going for a flank. The Marines are stimming, and ViBe pulls back, letting the tanks get into position. Now Strelok has to do this very cautiously because again, Mutaling Baneling, it could die in a second, but it also can kill you in a second if you're not careful.
Yeah, if those Banelings connect, that's key. And now what's so important is Strelok is able to attack while ViBe doesn't have creep. And here we go. The Banelings are finished. He's moving in here. Can he actually connect? Well, nice connections with some of those. Is it going to be enough, though? Additional Zerglings are going to come in here. And now it looks like the Mutas will be enough to clean this up. A great hold by Gosu ViBe.
Yeah, and Strelok loses pretty much, he has to restart from 0. He loses his tank count. He had a couple Banshees sprinkled in there, and that's a lot of gas that Strelok lost. Now he's back to the drawing board. He still has some Marines and tanks back at home, but the push has been thwarted, and ViBe is free to do whatever he wants.
More importantly, Strelok is only on 3 gas, and I don't know if he knows it, but this one main only has 2 into them. That's quite unfortunate. That's a big, big mishap. And if he doesn't fix that immediately or pretty soon, he will be in a lot of trouble moving forward because the more important units are the siege tanks and the medevacs, but not only that, you need the excess gas to get your upgrades. +1, +1, +2, +2. You can see he already has his +1 finished. His +1 armor, though, still needs to be upgraded. He doesn't have an armory. He doesn't... Oh, man, there's so many things that he doesn't have, and it's all because he doesn't have the correct gas production.
Strelok currently is just in, he's just in, what's the recovery mode? I mean, I feel like he's trying to set up his defenses and tech and set up for everything, but he's completely stationed up to his base. And I'm actually speechless based off the way ViBe's been able to play this game off, and I'm very impressed by the way this Zerg from its Ghost has been able to play.
Yeah, ViBe is, he's looking like a pretty good prediction right now.
Oh, man. I mean... Okay, but at the same time, Strelok's not out of it just yet.
No, he's not. Not at all.
And we've seen Zergs throw away Mutas before, and Zerglings and Banelings. It's a very fragile amount of supply, and that's why in the end you want to tech up to other things and Festers and Hive, and of course ViBe is trying to get his 4th base economy up before he does that. At the same time, he's also doing a good job keeping Strelok pinned into his base. We see the turrets in formation, but ViBe doesn't care. He is going to dive it, and now Strelok is on the run.
Oh, if you can get those engineering bays all the way on the bottom left-hand side, that'll be key into, you know, just maintaining his advantage. You can see the Marines come over. He does not want to engage on those. Mutalisks are at +1 Carapace. In the meantime, a medevac will flow directly over the Zerglings and Banelings being morphed over here. And unfortunate for Strelok, that will be spotted out. Now, the Spore Crawlers are not yet replaced. They should be over here just perimetering ViBe's base, but we're going to see that cleaned up very easily.
ViBe is gearing up for a huge push while droning for his newly minted 4th base. 18 Banelings, 14 Mutas, so not the greatest amount of firepower. He's morphing some Banelings right now, but he's transitioning by getting his Infestation Pit, so he's preparing that tech switch just in case. Can Strelok hold this? Supply advantage is in favor of Zerg. One Thor coming out to the field, but is not in position to be defended. Or is it? He's trying to see if he can soak up a lot of Baneling damage. The Banelings kind of going a little bit every which way direction, being a little indecisive.
Oh, wow. They don't... Oh, they're getting... The AI is actually messed up because of the wall. And look at that. He's just going to roll straight into the main. I think going for the SCV line would have been a lot better because this main doesn't have anything in it. Maybe the best thing is the armory, but he doesn't go for that.
On the turret, trying to giving the Mutas free reign, but in the end, Strelok loses more tanks and keeping supply low. And ViBe, he hasn't actually broken the 3rd though, so Strelok still has a 3-base economy, sort of. It's kind of right now in shambles based off the way he's been pulled every which way, but 19 more Banes are on the way here, Andre, and ViBe isn't done with his aggression just yet.
Yeah, ViBe is falling behind actually in upgrades, unfortunately. At least he's even. Never mind, he is even. You can see 2-1 up for Strelok, or about to be up, and 1-2 about to be up for ViBe. It's kind of weird that we see that. Normally when you have such a big advantage, like that's the #1 thing you make sure you get your upgrades, because that's the #1 way to fall behind. Actually, ViBe is notorious for being ahead in a game and then losing because of upgrades. I've yelled at him multiple times. So hopefully he fixes that. I yell, man. I'm a big yeller. I'm a big rager too, but people don't know that.
And when Andre yells, it reaches a pitch that only Chance can hear.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like NASL Barbie. It's her range, man.
We see the mutas picking off a couple more takes.
Well, you're so mean.
Barbie is so nice. I don't know
She
why.
is so nice.
Why would you pick on her, man?
She has a very, very high pitch voice.
I like her. Okay, well, we do
Sometimes.
see that the mutas are pushing in here one more time. Now, ViBe has to be really cautious. He has to engage properly this time. The Banelings can't be indecisive, and he's rolling in, and Strelok has just not enough units to handle this. The SCVs are now the ones taking the brunt of the blow as the Banelings are rolling in.
Nice.
And Strelok is completely exposed. There's no way he can defend the rest of these units here.
This was the straw that broke the camel's back. GG gets called out, and Strelok will fall in game number 2. ViBe is going to take it. Really nicely played.
Well done, yeah. I mean, ViBe is a really cool guy. When I talk to him MLG, he's always very he's very aware of how good he is and how good he's not. He's like, you know, I'm not this and I'm not that yet, and I'm gonna practice. I'm training. He practices really intentionally, and I like that. ViBe's a good guy, and you can show that he's been working on his game a lot, taking out Strelok, a very solid TVZ player.
ViBe is actually a big proponent of only training on the Korean server. He says any other server just isn't worth his time. You will actually never see him on the US or EU server unless it's by like pings or
like playing matches.
Or because of matches, yes, correct. So really well played by ViBe. I will say it came down to a build order loss in the beginning. Unfortunately, Strelok went a build that is very aggressive, harass-oriented with those, normally a couple of Banshees and a couple of Hellions, but he did a little bit differently this game. Unfortunately, it doesn't suit up well against a Roach Circling Baneling timing, and that's kind of a build you have to assume your opponents aren't doing if you want to do a Banshee build like that.
Well, we'll see how Strelok responds for game number 3. We want to thank the sponsors of that match. It was iBuyPower. Go to iBuyPower.com to buy some of their pre-assembled computers based off what you want to order. We'll be back after a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. The game number 3, the ace match, the rubber match between ViBe and Strelok coming up next.